It's time for Living Your Purpose, a motivational and inspirational podcast with Peter and Joyce Nielsen.
Hey everybody, Happy New Year. Here we are in a new year, 2024.
24 is my favorite number.
Which is great.
Number in school.
It's awesome. Happy New Year to everyone. We are so excited for this new year. We're so excited to be with you on this Living Your Purpose podcast. And today is really all about, and you could speak more about this than I could. I always say, you got to look and see beyond the clouds to really understand where you are emotionally. We live in Michigan. It's gray so much of the year, and you got to look beyond the clouds to kind of feel good. But that doesn't necessarily always work.
No.
Because we haven't seen the sun in probably 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been drizzly out. It's been weird, right?
It's been mild and no snow, but it's still dark by the time you get home from work. And seasonal affective disorder, it's a real thing. And unfortunately, I am one of the many out there who suffer from it. But fortunately for you, maybe we can give you some advice if you also suffer for it, how to get through the winter.
And we could talk about people that are married. That one person like me, I get up, and you could be real. I mean, I get up, most of the times I'm very happy. And whether it's cloudy, it could be 2 degrees, it could be 85 degrees, we could be on vacation, we could be home. I just really kind of don't have what she has. And what I notice being with you for the last few years is that it's real. Seasonal, depression, or they call it sad, winter blues. It's a real thing. And what we want to do is just go through this next, this episode on just talking about applications on things that could help.
Sure.
And things that really could hurt you as well.
I think first we need to identify what the feelings of it are, so people know.
And you could know real, so
Yeah.
you could identify it really. I mean, and it's real.
One of the major things is low energy. Really, I always joke, I'm like, okay, the winter's here. I want to hibernate like a bear. But it's true. There's so much darkness that surrounds me, and I thrive in the light. I thrive in the heat. And when it gets dark at 4:30, 5 o'clock, I just want to crawl into bed by 8:30 or 9. Then the morning comes, and in the summer, I'm up at 5:30, 6 without an alarm, and I'm ready to go. And in the wintertime, it's like, I feel lethargic. People suffer weight gain. You literally feel more sadness overall in your well-being and your life. You have difficulty concentrating on things. For me particularly, it's so cold outside. Like, he's like, let's go snowshoeing. Well, this year we haven't had snow yet, but let's go snowshoeing. Let's go outside. Let's do this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh my, it's so freezing. I just want to curl up by the fireplace with my blanket and gorge on food. And that's not the way to go. You're going to regret it if you do it.
And if I could say, we've been married going on 2 years this summer, and we've been together for 3 years. But it's like, if you're married and you're dealing with somebody that truly has this, you need to get with the program, meaning that, you only know what you know. So I'm thinking everybody gets up, and regardless of the weather, happiness is a choice, not a chance. And when I really studied you, and I love you so much, she truly is so passionate about life, but also she's so hypersensitive to certain things. So when it is getting dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and in Michigan or the Midwest, you don't see a sunny day for sometimes 30 days. We're going on the 3rd week that it's been drizzly, hailing, lightly snowing, cloudy where you don't even see sun.
And now that New Year's is here and I have to go outside and take down all the Christmas lights that I had so much fun putting up when it was 55 in December, and now it's 25.
Well,
and
you
freezing.
put it up in Thanksgiving.
I did.
And I'm so grateful.
I broke protocol.
I will
Just
say
like the
this,
ambiance.
I had one of the best, let me rephrase that, I had the best Christmas and holidays. We shared it with your family, with my family, my kids, your kids, my grandkids, your mom and dad, step parents. We're going to see my mom in a few days for her 90th birthday in New Jersey. So it was really just a beautiful, beautiful holiday. And I need to give credit where credit's due. Number one, to our Lord and Savior. And number two, to you. You are the most amazing hostess. When I first met Joyce, she said, God's bringing us together for many reasons, but one of them is to create unity and to bring families together. She comes from, a broken marriage. I come from a broken marriage. And one of the things that we both feel that we missed out on was family, was truly the whole kabang. Not compartmentalizing where you're dating someone and you have your family over here, but bringing everybody together with God and creating this amazing scenario. And here we're both experiencing it. So thank you. Kudos to God. Kudos to you. She's a great cook. You need a vacation.
I do,
With
and I'm
palm
ready
trees?
to go to palm trees and oceans, which
I'm going to take
is
her.
one of the alleviators
I
of winter blues.
Great segue. Great segue.
Light therapy.
Right.
But let's talk about that.
Right.
Light therapy. That's one of the main things.
Yeah, light therapy devices can really help with winter blues. I had it on my TV show, but LED lights can help regenerate just energy, and it's so important to understand that. And you even had that light spectrum. You just had a little light that you put in front of you while you were working.
It's a box.
Right.
And
Right.
it literally, as long as it emits at least 10,000 units, and you spend 20 to 30 minutes a day in front of it, and it's about 16 to 24 inches away from it. So what I used to do is I have an area I get ready in the morning and I take my time doing my hair and makeup and whatever. I would have the box set right next to me, and and it actually even has a dimmer, so it'll give you gradual to brighter light, like you're waking up to this beautiful sunrise. And if I can't be in Florida soaking in the sun, I'm gonna use this light box. But there's also red light therapy, which you can get. You can buy your own machine, and it kind of looks like the old school tanning beds, but the bulbs are all filled with red lights, which aren't.
You have that in your bathroom, right? One of the bathrooms.
Oh, well, that's a heat.
That's
a heat light. It's a little different.
But what I will say is, you go into her dressing room. It's just like a 5-star dressing room. And when she moved in, we built that. But it must be 20 degrees warmer in that room.
Yeah.
You got heaters on the floor.
Vitamin D, whether it's simulated light from the box, or maybe you live in a warmer part of the country, or you live in another country, which I envy you maybe a little bit, and it's warm year round. And you get the natural sunlight, the vitamin D, just wear your sunscreen.
And vitamin D you can get also from fatty fish, like salmon, Alaskan salmon.
Tuna.
You can get it from tuna. You can get it from mackerel, from herring, from sardines. The thing is that a lot of people in this country have a deficiency of the vitamin D, and you don't even know it.
Or
and
omega-3s.
Right, omega-3 essential fatty acids, is part of that family. But what Joyce was just saying, even if you can get just 10 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day of that light therapy, then it's going to start feeding your vitamin D deficiency. It's going to start feeding your serotonin, your dopamine, which are all natural neurotransmitters that make you feel good, make you feel peaceful, give you energy. But if you think about it, from Thanksgiving, which starts getting darker and darker, December 21st is the least amount of light in a day. June 21st is the longest day of light. But when you think about the holidays, you got darkness, you got cold, you got more alcohol because you're celebrating Thanksgiving,
Heavier
New Year's,
comfy foods.
heavier comfort foods. You have stress and anxiety because of unresolved issues with your family that you may be seeing or traveling to. It is the perfect storm for isolation, addiction, depression. So this is real stuff, and that's why it was important that we talked about it, because you are so passionate, but you truly are so sensitive to certain things.
Yes.
All kidding aside, and I say this, I'll put it right out here to the world. I mean, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and I've been here in Michigan in the Midwest since 1985. But once my kids are finished with school, we are definitely going to go down south. There's no reason, in our opinion, especially we love fitness, we love biking, I love motorcycling, I love to drive nice cars, I love to wear less clothes, I love the water. So all those things really resonate with Joyce and I, whether it's California, whether it's Florida, and we rather not go into a time change like California. We'd rather just be a couple of hours away from our family and be on Eastern Standard Time. So that is one of our goals.
It is, but not everyone out there has that goal. And
Right.
And if you are, in a different part of the country, and I do have a problem with my serotonin levels. My body is very sensitive to it. And one of the things I find super important, especially from pretty much October until even May. I mean, sometimes at Easter it's still snowing. It goes from October to May for me. And I take serotonin natural supplements. I take dopamine supplements. Even if I'm always like, can we turn on more lights? Can we open these curtains?
And I'm like Mr. Ambiance, and she's like, Peter, it's so dark. So here we have this yin yang. We love each other, and we have this amazing marriage, but people are different. And then you just need to learn, and sleep. Both of us.
That's another major
sleep
factor
is a major
with
factor
winter
to winter blues. If you're staying up or you're drinking alcohol, too much alcohol, which is a natural depressant, then you're going to even have a harder time getting into that deep beta sleep. And sleep is when you defrag not only your mind, but your body. That's when your body repairs from a sickness, an injury, a workout. So one of the things that you need to do is make sure you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night.
Right.
And you're better with that than I am.
Sleep is important. A natural routine and schedule, a consistent schedule is going to help immensely. I do find, though, sometimes that's all I want to do is sleep, and I sleep too much, and it's that energy being sucked out of me from the lack of light. So it really is just, it's finding if you have to adjust your routine.
But we exercise.
Adjust your exercises.
Exercise is one of the best medicines for winter blues. It's one of the the best things that you can start. Here we are. We're in a new year, 2024. We're in a new month, January. We have a new slate. So if you've never exercised before, it doesn't need to be complicated. You don't need expensive membership. You don't need an expensive membership to a health club. You don't need expensive, bulky equipment. I mean, put on a pair of shoes, walking shoes, and just walk. Jump rope. Just stay active. Your endorphins, talk about dopamine. your endorphins are going to go crazy, and it's going to make you feel good. It's going to suppress any depression that's coming in from all these triggers of real winter blues.
Sure, and depression is inherited too. It's on so many levels, and eating healthy and exercising regularly and having a regular sleep schedule are going to be like the 3 top things that are going to help you the most.
Yeah.
And
eating great.
Yes, and I said that. And struggling in that area, you have your website where you do macronutrient meal plans.
PeterNielsen.com. Yep. And it's a subscription site. I think it's $9.99 a month. You get a 7-day free trial, especially now. But I put together a macronutrient meal plan for you. You can go back in there. You can get every 7 days a new menu of foods that are specific for your caloric needs. Your caloric needs have everything to do with your age, your gender, your height, your weight, and the amount of physical activities that you're doing. So these are all important. And that's why I always say, 90% of people will fail the first 90 days of a new year because they don't know what they're doing, or their mind is doing 1,000 and their body's doing 100, and they just clash, and then they get discouraged.
How many days is it that they
21
say?
days.
21.
21 days.
A new habit.
21 days to
or
create
an old one.
a new habit, whether it's good or bad. And then it takes 6 to 9 months, what I call getting into your DNA, where it becomes part of like brushing your teeth. But what you just said is so important. There's this, and I talked about it, I think, not too long ago, but there's this moment between going into the refrigerator and seeing, and we have it actually now, I'm embarrassed to say it, but she made amazing lasagna, and we have still leftover.
Once a year I'm allowed to make lasagna.
And I have a lactose intolerance, dairy products.
Tray.
I have Crohn's disease. I'm a national spokesperson for this, but her lasagna is amazing.
Meat, and I used the cheese alternative.
Yes,
and
I mean, she's just she's beyond a cook. She's a great chef. So when you go into that refrigerator, whether it's that cheesecake, that piece of pizza, that lasagna, you have this moment between reacting or taking a moment to think and put logic behind that. In that moment, you have this time to create success. If you act out of just emotion, you're going to eat that before you even think about it, and then you're going to want to almost purge because you're so upset with yourself that you did it. But if you just take a moment between, deciding, is this good or bad for me? And in that moment, you have this amazing opportunity to be successful.
And might I add something?
Yeah.
You don't have to totally deny yourself every little treat you love.
Right.
For example, Peter loves my dad's homemade cookies. And we just learned
oatmeal cookies, chocolate chip cookies, peanut butter cookies. I was getting up in the middle of the night.
My dad sends home too many batches, and we just learned from experience, you can bring home a few cookies and treat yourself to it, but don't keep a stash in the pantry that's going to tempt you when you're waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or whatever and go grab a handful of cookies. Like,
I will say this to you.
Throw it away.
I got upset with you when we first got married. She would take good stuff that I loved, and I would want to go back for seconds, and all of a sudden I see it in the garbage.
Yeah.
And not only, and here I am like, Mr. Alpha Male, like, it's a waste of money, and why did you do it? And she's 100% right, because we had our cheat, and then we need to move on.
Get rid of the temptation.
Get rid of it. If it's in the house, even if you try and, you have a child that may be a little overweight, and we live in the richest country in the world, and we're nutritionally illiterate, And so many of us will go into doing what we just said and have stuff in the cupboards, too much sugar, and the next thing you know is the kids are living on it. They're either getting ADHD or they're basically, hyper, they're not sleeping, they're gaining some weight, they're not doing good in school. These are all things that you can nip in the bud by doing what she did, where I used to get upset with you. I was like, why are you getting rid of 3/4 of a cake?
To be honest with you, it's the same thing with alcohol. Right. I ask him not to keep an abundance of alcohol in the house because if it's there, sometimes if I'm just like, oh, whatever, let's have a drink because it's there. Let's have an extra glass of wine or whatever because we have all these bottles sitting here. But if we just buy something to treat ourselves when we want it, you cut a whole lot of temptation out of your life.
Agreed.
And it's so much easier to stick to that new habit you're forming, and you're going to feel so much better, especially in the winter. It's important to keep socializing. Don't isolate yourself.
Exactly.
If you're isolating yourself in the winter and all you're doing is gorging on all this delicious sugar and then having all these amazing drinks and then sleeping 12 hours a day, of course you're going to gain weight.
What did we do yesterday? We took your dog Mateo out into the park.
Yeah.
It was cold.
It was 25 degrees before the wind chill. We had a sweater on him and a jacket because he's 5 pounds. I had on a snowsuit, a ski mask, and gloves.
Oh, we got outside because when you get outside into nature, you become part of it instead of isolating yourself and becoming a winter couch potato. And it's so important because if you do exercise, and if I could just stay on this for a minute, if you never exercise, make sure you get a cardiologist to give you a green light that you're able to do that. And how you could do that is a blood test, blood pressure, take an EKG, take a stress test. Once you have that green light, then you should be doing cardio, and I'll even take an cumulative effect, but the gold standard is 45 to 60 minutes. 5 out of 7 days a week. Now, if you just had a surgery, a back surgery, a hip surgery, a replacement, you were sick with a flu, just wean into it. Do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunchtime, 10 minutes after dinner, 10 minutes before bed. I'll take that and document it, journal it. But when you truly do this, you're going to build endurance. You're going to get your blood pressure at bay. Your cholesterol levels are going to start going down. Your HDL, your good cholesterol is going to go up. So exercise is one of the best medicines. And then as we're 30 years old and older, we start losing muscle. We start losing muscle mass. And muscle burns twice as many calories as fat does.
You just went through that with, you mentioned earlier that you had a surgery.
I had a back surgery from just a freak accident, nothing to do with working out. And
you lost almost 20 pounds.
I lost like literally 17, 18 pounds. And all I know is God is so faithful because right now I am back. I even see my face is fuller, my hair is healthier. It has 60 to 70% on how you look and how you feel has to do with what you put in your mouth. And I'm just so thankful that I have my health back because there's no way, as what this podcast is called, Living Your Purpose, there's no way you can live a purposeful life unhealthy. Can't do it. So our hope is that during this last half hour that we've given you some applications, we've provoked your spirit.
We have. And may I close out with one more thing?
Absolutely.
Because I feel it's important. And so Peter and I are Christians, and we really believe in the power of prayer. And that's another important thing, especially in the times where you are feeling maybe a little down and a little depressed or hopelessness, or there's some difficulties and challenges you're facing in your life. And it's so important. And even if you don't have a Christian faith, it's important to pray for whatever that faith is that you believe in. to practice meditation,
Yeah.
just centering yourself and getting rid of all the anxiety and negative feelings inside of you.
Get closer to something that's bigger than
stretching,
self.
yoga.
Yeah, get bigger, get closer to something that's bigger than self.
Mhm.
Because we're just a little speck in this universe. And
Maybe it's volunteering,
Yeah.
even just giving something to somebody else. There's
the
so
power
many
of giving
options.
is so amazing. I did a post recently, and to me, when I think about all the things that I've been through in my life, 2024 is the year of giving back. It means a lot to me because of all the things that I've been through. Nothing's wasted in God's economy, and we end up teaching what we've always wanted to learn, right?
Yes. And I honestly can say that I have rid myself in the last year of some addictions that I had that were unhealthy, literally by praying for it to happen and just being consistent with the mindset that I wanted to have a change and praying for it and connecting myself to something bigger out there in the universe for people that maybe don't believe in God. But I prayed for God, like, you know, I want to be let free of feeling this addiction to something, and I have
love you so much.
literally changed my life in the last 6 months, where things that used to be maybe a weekly or daily habit for me doesn't appeal to me anymore. And once you've entered into that mindset and really experienced the feeling of the change, and not only isn't it appealing to you anymore, but it becomes offsetting and
Right.
easier to walk away from, and easier to open yourself up to other things that more are of a positive thing in your life.
I couldn't agree more. You know, and on what she just said, one of the most powerful, and I use the word dangerous because you better be prepared when you pray for this. And one of the simplest but most potent prayers is, God, use me.
Yes. That's
God,
how we met.
use me. Unfill me with self. Fill me with you. Take me wherever you want me to go. Let me do whatever you want me to do, wherever you want me to do it, however you want me to do it. And when you do that, you need to be prepared. God is going to use you.
And be specific.
Yes.
Break me from this addiction. Bring me closer in this relationship. Let me let go of this shame or guilt I feel from things that have happened in my past.
Yeah. I've seen so much beauty in your soul, in your growth. And my wish for each and every one of you that are watching and listening is that you could have access, and you do have access, to what Joyce and I are talking about. And all you need to do is surrender and truly just ask that simple sentence: God, I need your help.
Bring me closer to you,
Right.
to that.
Right. And however that looks to you, God will lead you to that. And it's true. That's how we met. We met, you know, years prior, six or 6.5 years prior, and it wasn't the right time. But I knew how special Joyce was, and she was going through something, and so was I. And then we met, you know, 6.5 years later, and God told us both, now is the time. This is what I prepared for you. And then there's this little thing called free will. You can say, screw this. I want to continue to do what I'm doing. Understand this: if you think you're stuck, the only reason why you're stuck is if you don't have a plan for your future. If you surrender and you ask God to lead you, to guide you, to direct you, to protect you. Be prepared. We're truly, I can speak for myself, it's just a living miracle on everything I've ever hoped for, everything I've ever wished for, everything I ever wanted in my life. I'm living it with you. And I said to her when we first met, God will first heal us. He will bring us together. We will basically operate in his love, and then he will use us. And there are things that I thought that I didn't need to heal from, that when I met Joyce, they were triggers or different things, or vice versa. And God said it, he never said it was going to be easy, but he said, I'll be with you and get you through it.
I'm still healing, I'm still growing,
Me too.
and I still have my triggers, but together we work through it.
We
and
do.
We know that if we can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, we do. And you know, as we leave this show, another blessing that kind of been manifested, but Peter's Principles, you know, is over 34 years old. It was relaunched, premiered just this last Tuesday on Astound TV Network in over 50 million households from Washington, D.C., L.A., California, Texas, Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, just to name a few. And I'm just blown away on how God is faithful.
And soon we'll be able to find it on Roku or Apple.
Yeah,
right?
we signed another deal that's already signed. So you'll be able to find Peter's Principles on demand on Roku and on Apple TV, probably in the next week or two.
Yeah.
So
if you guys have any requests on something you want more information on, or you want to see, email us.
Yeah, and I have a new 2024 90-day challenge. Go to our social media, whether it's Peter and Nielsen on Facebook or on Instagram, and then just follow the links. You'll be invited to a exclusive Facebook community with like-minded people that want to truly be that best version of themselves in 2024. I've been doing this, I've been in the transformation business my entire life. So I'm super excited on where God is leading us. And I truly do love our life. And I want each and every one of you to love your life. But it starts and ends with you on finding and living your purpose. So until next week, Joyce and myself just hope and pray that each and every one of you have an amazing week. And we look forward to hearing from you. If you like this, what you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to this.
Yes.
And
Or Peter at peternielsen.com, email.
Yeah. And we will be seeing you next week. So God bless each and every one of you. Have a great one.